Is it audible? Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is the screen is visible? Is the screen is visible?
Sir.
Okay. So we'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Later on we'll start. Still some of them are joining. So one thing I have to tell in this fourth module is here you may expect more problems. That is rather than expecting the theory portion. So we will be having more problems in this fourth module. That is rigid payment section. So today we will be discussing about a general design approach for CC payments. So for your syllabus, the design is based on the IRC 58/2002 method, and one more method is called design of rigid payment using Westergaard stresses. Okay, using the Westergaard stresses, we are going to design the rigid payment. So these are the two methods we will be using for designing the rigid payment. And before going to design approach, in the last class we have discussed about the factors which are affecting the design of the rigid payment. That is the V load, temperature, design period, subgrade strength, properties of concrete, then drainage characteristics. Similarly, today we will be discussing about the general approach for the design of the rigid pavement. What are the things we have to consider, or what is the general approach we are going to make for designing the rigid pavement? As we all know that design of the pavement means determining the thickness of the layer. So as we all know that a design of flexible pavement or rigid pavement means which indicates that design of the thickness, that is determining the thickness of the rigid pavement. As we all know that the rigid pavement consists of two or three layers. So as we all know that the first layer will be the subgrade soil, above that there will be a GSB, above that there will be a base course, that is a base course, above that the pavement quality concrete we are going to provide. But in the flexible pavement we are going to determine all the thickness, that is the thickness of subgrade is determined, which is fixed. Then the GSB layer thickness based on the subgrade CBR value and the given traffic, we are going to determine the GSB thickness. Then base course thickness we are going to design, that is what is the thickness of the base course for the given traffic and for the given subgrade soil. Then we are going to design the topmost layer, that is a bituminous layer we are going to design in the flexible pavement. But in the rigid pavement, what we are going to design means only we are going to determine the thickness of CC slab. Okay, not only, so here also there will be subgrade will be there in the rigid pavement. Above that the DLC layer will be there, then comes the PQC. Only three layers will be there in the rigid pavement. Here we are going to determine only the thickness of PQC, that is a thickness of pavement quality concrete. We are not going to design any, or we are not going to determine any DLC layer, or we are not going to determine any subgrade thickness. Only we will be determining the pavement quality concrete. That is the PQC layer thickness we are going to determine. Keep it in mind. This is the thing you should remember.
ஏய் அங்க சார்ஜர் போடுற இடம் இல்ல எங்குமே இங்க அதனால தான் வந்தேன் இல்ல நான் இங்கே வருவான்.
So is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So only we are going to determine the thickness of concrete. That is the thickness of the slab only we are going to determine rather than determining the thickness of DLC or subgrade. So this is the general thing you should remember in the design of rigid pavement. The basic difference between the design of rigid pavement and flexible pavement is this thing only. That is designing the thickness of individual layer in the flexible pavement, but in the rigid pavement designing the CC slab thickness. CC slab, okay, designing or determining the only the CC slab thickness that we are going to call it as the design of rigid pavement. I told right, there are two methods are there. One is Westergaard stress equation method. Westergaard's equation method, that is Westergaard's stress method, and another one is IRC 58 2002. Now they have upgraded to 2011, but for your syllabus still they are with this IRC 58 2002 method. Now today we will see what is this Westergaard's method. Okay, we will try to solve one problem if time permits, or we will see these problems in the next class. So what is the general design approach? How you are going to start designing the rigid pavement? So the general design approach. Okay, what is the thing you have to consider and how we are going to design? We can call it as the step-by-step procedure or a general design approach for this design of rigid pavement. So the first thing we have to consider is the wheel load. Okay, in the Westergaard stress analysis also we have considered the wheel load. So wheel load is the key factor for designing the rigid pavement. Here also we are going to determine the design wheel load based on the relevant axial load studies and analysis. So we are going to conduct some axial load studies and from the axial load studies. So we have already know that the standard axial load is kept as 8.2 ton. So the standard axial load is kept as 8.2 ton. So we are going to determine the axial load of each vehicle. So we are going to conduct some axial load survey. So axial load survey using axial pads. That is making the vehicle to stand on the axial pad. That is the rear axle of the vehicle, and determining the wheel load of each axle we are going to consider. And in this from that the axial load survey we are going to get the design wheel load. Then the second thing you have to consider is based on climatic condition. Since we have discussed about warping stresses and temperature stresses and frictional stresses in the rigid pavement. So we have solved some problems also because of the climatic conditions. The temperature differentials will be there. Because of the climatic conditions, the temperature differentials will be there. So for various pavement thickness, how the temperature differentials will be varying, that can be determined. That is the warping stresses, frictional stresses, how they will be varying with the temperature. That is we all know that the warping stresses because of daily variation in the temperature, and frictional stresses because of seasonal variation in the temperature. Those points we should keep it in mind while designing the rigid pavement. Then modulus of subgrade reaction is determined based on the supporting layers. So since the modulus of subgrade reaction, in all the equations we are going to use this modulus of subgrade. So that is in the Westergaard stress equation we have determined one term called radius of relative stiffness, which is related with this modulus of subgrade reaction. So we have to determine the modulus of subgrade reaction at the prior stages, and we are going to consider that modulus of subgrade reaction in the design of rigid pavement, and which is based on the supporting layers. Okay, I told right, the supporting layers may be DLC layer or GSB layer. So based on the material properties of this DLC layer and GSB layer, we are going to consider the modulus of subgrade reaction. Then the fourth point is deciding the spacing of joints. So deciding the spacing of joints, it is a longitudinal joints and transverse joint. So we have calculated the warping stresses. So using this the spacing between the longitudinal joints and transverse joints. So based on the spacing of joints also, we are going to consider the thickness of the rigid pavement. There is a if the length is more, that is the longitudinal joint length is more, means we are going to provide thinner pavement. If the length is very less, means we are going to provide thicker pavement. Similarly for transverse joints also. That is by deciding the spacing of the joints, we are going to determine the thickness of the pavement. And these are all the things we have to consider while designing the pavement. One is design wheel load, climatic condition, modulus of subgrade reaction, and spacing of joints. Then what we are going to do means a trial thickness is assumed. So a trial thickness of around 25 centimeter or 30 centimeter. Initially, we are going to assume the thickness. Okay, by looking into the parameters what they have given, that is the design based on the design wheel load, climatic condition, modulus of subgrade reaction, and spacing of joints. By looking all these criteria, first we are going to assume a trial thickness. You are going to assume a trial thickness. Then the load and warping stress values at pavement edges are used using the appropriate stress equation. So the load stress and temperature stress. Okay, the load stress which is obtained by the Westergaard's equation, and warping stresses which are obtained by the Westergaard's equations are determined at the pavement edges. So pavement edges are considered as the critical location. This is also one of the critical location. So the edge stress because of the wheel load and warping stress are calculated using appropriate equations or charts for the assumed thickness. So I'm going to show that chart also when we are solving the problem. So remember, a trial thickness is assumed. For that trial thickness, we are going to determine the edge load stress. Okay, edge load stress and edge warping stresses are determined. Then if the total value of stress exceeded the permissible limit, the trial is repeated assuming a higher pavement thickness. So for example, they have restricted the wheel load stress as 2 kg per centimeter square. For example, they have restricted the stress as 2 kg per centimeter square. But when we have assumed 25 centimeter as the thickness, and we have got around 2.5 kg per centimeter square as the stress equation. Okay, if we got 2.5 kg per centimeter square as the stress, so we have to revise the thickness. Why? Because to meet the 2, that is 2 kg per centimeter square. So the stress whatever you are going to calculate at the edges using wheel load equation and the warping stresses, it should be less than 2 kg per centimeter square. So you have to design the pavement in such a way that the total value of stress exceeds the permissible limit. So the permissible limit is 2 kg. For example, if we consider the permissible limit is 2 kg per centimeter square, and if we are getting less than 2 kg per centimeter square, the summation of this edge stress because of V load and warping stress, it will be okay. If it is exceeding means we have to redesign the thickness of the pavement. We have to redesign the thickness of the pavement. So if the stress is whatever the stress which we are calculating using for the trial thickness, if it is less than the permissible limit means it is okay. If it is greater than means we are going to redesign the trial thickness. Again we are going to calculate the V load and warping stresses. Then the factor of safety of the trial thickness of the pavement is worked out by taking the ratio of flexural stress at the edge region due to V load to the warping stresses. So factor of safety, we are going to consider we are going to determine the factor of safety at edge stress divided by warping stress. Okay, warping stress you are going to consider. So factor of safety you are going to determine for the given trial thickness. That is edge stress divided by the warping stress at the mid summer day. Summer midday we are going to calculate and you are going to fix it. So the factor of safety usually between 1.1 and 1.2 we are going to provide. If the factor of safety is less than 1.1 and 1.2, it is okay. The trial thickness is within the limits and it is okay. If the trial thickness is, if the factor of safety is greater than 1.1 or 1.2 means, again we are going to work out the edge stresses, corners, that is the edge stress due to load, edge load, then warping stresses due to edge, all those things we have to calculate and we have to redesign or we have to redo the trial thickness. So then if limited number of vehicles, overloaded vehicles, okay, so usually we are going to design it for a lesser load, okay, usually we are going to design it for a lesser load, that is a underloading condition we are going to consider. But if small amount of overloaded vehicles, okay, if more number of overloaded vehicles are moving means the design load are expected to use the road, the stress ratio, okay, the stress ratio. So remember stress ratio is equal to, so make a note of it, edge stress divided by flexural strength of concrete. Flexural strength of concrete. So remember, stress ratio is the ratio of edge stress of the CC pavement to the flexural strength of concrete we are going to consider. So this is the thing you have to remember. That is the edge load stress, edge stress divided by flexural strength of concrete, that we are going to calculate as stress ratio. So stress ratio we are going to consider. So if the stress ratio is exceeding 0.44 because of the higher load, we have to carry out fatigue analysis. So this part will be included in the IRC 58 2011. Okay. So the fatigue analysis of the V load stresses or the axial load survey will be conducted only if stress ratio is exceeding 0.44. So edge stress to flexural strength of concrete is exceeding 0.44, then only we are going for this fatigue analysis as per IRC 58 2011. Then if the assumed thickness of pavement fails to fulfill any of the requirements, the next trial is made after suitable revising the thickness. If it fails to overcome this stress ratio means we are going to redesign the thickness. So there are three criteria you are going to consider for redesign. One is edge load, that is the load and warping stresses are less than the permissible limit, it is okay. If it is exceeding permissible limit, you are going to revise the thickness. Again, the factor of safety. If the factor of safety is within the permissible limit, means it is okay. We can we can adapt the thickness. If it is exceeding the factor of safety, means you are going to do the trial thickness design. Then here also, if the stress ratio, okay, if the stress ratio is greater than 0.44, we are going to consider the redesign of the thickness. Then the total of the edge load stress due to heaviest load and the edge warping stress on summer midday is calculated. Usually the summer midday will be considered as the critical combination of stresses. Summer midday, afternoon, summer season afternoon time, the stresses are maximum in rigid pavement. That's why we are going to consider that. And if the total stress is less than the flexural strength of concrete, that is 45 kg per centimeter square, the design is accepted. I told right, if the total stress, that is the edge stress, is less than the flexural strength of concrete. Okay, edge stress is lesser than the flexural strength of cement concrete. Then we can adapt the design and we can adapt the trial thickness. Otherwise, if the things in that is if it is edge stress is greater than the flexural strength, so then we are going to consider the revising of the thickness of the CC pavement. So remember, if the edge stress is lesser than the flexural strength of concrete, then we are going to adapt the trial thickness. If the edge stress is greater than the flexural strength of concrete, we are going to revise the trial thickness. Okay, so these are some general design approach we are going to consider. So the key points you have to remember: design wheel load, climatic conditions we are going to consider, then modulus of subgrade reaction we are going to consider. Then first stages what we are going to consider means trial thickness we are going to consider. For that trial thickness, we are going to design the wheel load. We are going to calculate the wheel load and warping stresses. And if it is within the permissible limits, then the trial thickness what we have assumed, it is okay. If it is exceeding the permissible limits, it is beyond the permissible limits, means we are going to revise the trial thickness. The second point, factor of safety. If the factor of safety is lesser than the specified value, if it is okay. If the factor of safety is exceeding the specified value, means we are going to redesign the pavement thickness. Then for overloaded vehicle, if the stress ratio, that is edge stress to the flexural strength of concrete, if it is exceeding 0.44, then we are going to carry out fatigue analysis, and from that fatigue analysis we are going to determine the trial thickness. Then if it is not matching with the stress ratio, means we are going to redesign the trial thickness. And one more step is there, determining the ratio of edge stress, or comparing the edge stress and the flexural strength of concrete. If the edge stress is less than the flexural strength of concrete, then whatever the trial thickness we have provided, it is okay. If the edge stress is more and flexural strength is less, means we are going to redesign the thickness. The trial thickness you are going to revise it. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear or not? Kindly respond. Is it clear? So when you see the theory portion, you will not get to know how these things will be working. When we solve a problem, we will get to know how these things will be working. Okay. So is it clear? I hope is it clear? Others kindly respond. Is it clear or not? You can unmute yourself or you can leave a message in the chat section. If it is clear, we will go for writing the problem. Yes or no? Kindly tell me. Only one has responded. Others, is it clear or not? Okay, so we will be directly moving to problem. So kindly note down. Note down this problem. So the same thing what we have calculated, that is using Westergaard Wheelock theory, but it is slightly different. Okay, so kindly note down. Problems on design of rigid pavement using stress equations. I told right there are two methods are there. One is a stress equation method and another one is IRC 58 2002 method. So kindly note on the first problem. Design a rigid pavement making use of Westergaard Wheelock and warping stress equations at edge region of the slab. The design data are given below. So kindly note down. So the design wheel load they have given it as a 7,000 kg, contact pressure 7.5 kg per centimeter square, spacing between longitudinal joints and contraction joints. So whatever till now, whatever we have discussed, the same data they have already given. Wheel load we have discussed, contact pressure, spacing, then modulus of concrete we have considered. Then they have given the factor of safety also, that is 1.1 to 1.2 we are going to consider. That is also given. So kindly note down. Kindly note down. So inform me when it is completed so that we will go for solution part. So in this fourth module, rather than asking the question related to theory, they will be asking more problems. Okay, those are all simple problems. So you will be answering those problems. Okay, so kindly note down. Completed?
Yes, sir.
So we'll go for. No. Okay. Okay. Write down. Write down. Kindly tell me. Inform me when it is completed. We'll go for solution part. When it is completed, kindly inform me so that we'll go for solution part. Completed?
1 minute, sir.
Okay. Okay. Write down. Write down.
Completed, sir.
Okay. Now we will go for a solution part. Now are you able to see the whiteboard? Is the whiteboard is visible?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, Maruti class ಕೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
Maruti. Maruti.
Sir,
Yenappa, yeah. Who is that complaining? Maruti is not listening the class. Okay.
yaru sir,
Leave
yaru
it.
sir.
Okay, what are all the data they have given? First, we will write the data. What are all the data they have given? So we will write whatever the required data we will write. So what is the load they have given? V load
7,000.
7,000 kg. Small p 7.5 kg per centimeter square. So now calculate the A value. A is equal to square root of P by pi P. Square root of 7,000 divided by pi into 7.5. How much you are going to get? Check it. A value
17.23.
17.23 centimeter. Okay. Now first trial number 1. So I told right which is based on trial and error basis. So we will be assuming trial number 1. Assume, make a statement here. Assume pavement thickness h is equal to 25 centimeter. So we will be assuming the pavement thickness as h is equal to 25 centimeter. Now calculate radius of relative stiffness. L is equal to EH cube divided by 12k into 1 minus mu square whole power 1 by 4. Now calculate E value which is given in the problem. What is the E value they have given? Modulus of elasticity of concrete.
3 into 10 power 5.
5. The thickness we have assumed it as a 25 cube. So 12 into, what is the K value they have given? K value 30. Okay, they have given 30. 1 minus 0.5 square whole power 1 by 4. Check it how much you are going to get, which will be in terms of centimeter. Check it how much you are going to get. Then B is a radius of resisting section. First we have to calculate A by H. A is 17.23 divided by 25. Check it how much. How much is the L value?
60.41.
0.41. A by H value?
0.69.
0.69, which is less than 1.724. So therefore B is equal to square root of 1.6 A square plus H square minus 0.675 H. Calculate B value, how much you are going to get? Check it. Into A square 17.23 square plus H square, it is 25 square, 0.675 into 25 in terms of centimeter. Check it how much?
16.29.
16.29 centimeter. Okay. We will write all the values here. L is equal to 60.41 centimeter. B is equal to 16.29 centimeter. Now, in the question, you carefully observe that edge load stress. Okay, the stress equation you should use it in the edge load only. Okay, the edge load stress we are going to use. So, write the Westergaard's edge load stress. Okay, Westergaard's edge load stress. See, edge load stress SC is equal to 0.572 P by H square 4 log 10 L by B plus 0.359. Calculate the edge load stress, how much you are going to get? So 0.572 into P, 7000 divided by H square, that is a 25 square. 4 log L is 60.41 divided by B is 16.29 plus 0.359. Check it how much you are going to get. Edge load stress
16.88.
16.88 kg per centimeter square. Now they are given the temperature, so we are going to consider the warping stresses also, that is edge warping edge stress. So note down, for H is equal to 25 centimeter temperature differential. So kindly refer the question. Did they give the temperature differential for 25 centimeter?
No, sir.
What they have given? For 24 and 26 they have given, right?
Yes, sir.
So we will take average of 24 and 26. So the average will be 25 centimeter. So the temperature, what is the 24th temperature? Temperature differential of 24 centimeter?
15.6.
Temperature differential of 16 centimeter, 26 centimeter?
16.2.
So we will divide it by 2. That will be the temperature differential for 25 degree Celsius. How much you are going to get? Check it. I think 15.9 degree Celsius. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Now we know the temperature differential. Now calculate, note down the Lx value. What is Lx value? Lx and Ly. What is Lx value? Higher value we are going to consider.
4.2. 4.2.
Ly 3.75.
75.
Now calculate Lx by L ratio, Ly by L ratio, so that we will get Cx and Cy. Calculate the value. Lx, it is 420 divided by 60.41. Ly 375 divided by 60.41. Which one you are going to get? How much we are going to get?
6.95 and 6.2.
0.95 and 6.2. Which one you are going to consider now? So from the graph, so I hope the graph is visible, right? Okay. Now one is 6.96, so approximately 7. So how much we are going to get? Cxx.
Sir, graph is not visible, sir.
Now check it.
It's visible, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to get L for Lx by L is equal to 6.96. Cx is equal to 0.99. For Ly by L is equal to how much we are going to get? Ly by L how much? 6.2, right? So we will get approximately here 6.2. So we will get a lesser value. So around 0.92. Cy is equal to 0.92. So among those, the Cx value is higher. So we are going to consider the Lx by L ratio. Now Cx is equal to 0.99 and this is a 0.92. Calculate the warping edge stress, that is St is equal to Cx into EET divided by 2. So Cx is equal to 0.99 into E is 3 into 10 power 5. Thermal coefficient is 1 into 10 power minus 5. Temperature differential is 15.9. Okay, sorry, divided by 2. Check it how much you are going to get. So is it clear how we are getting these values?
23.61.
23.61. So if you want, you can calculate it for Cy also. So I will calculate it here. So STE CYEET by 2. 0.92 into 3 into 10 power 5 into 1 into 10 power minus 5 into 15.9 divided by 2. Check it how much you are going to get.
21.94.
21.94. So since we are going to adapt only ST is equal to, so therefore STE is equal to 23.61 kg per centimeter square. Okay, up to here, is it clear, right?
Yes.
Okay, now total stresses, total stress, that is STE plus SC plus STE is equal to, what is SE? Edge load stress. From V load we have calculated, right? What is that?
16.88.
16.88 plus 23.61. Check it how much. Add these two.
40.49.
49 kg per centimeter square. Then what is the flexural strength of concrete?
45 kg per centimeter square.
Concrete is equal to 45 kg per centimeter square. Now calculate factor of safety. Factor of safety is equal to total stress divided by flexural strength of CC. So 40.49 divided by 45. Check it how much you are going to get. Hey, sorry. It is reverse. So factor of safety is equal to flexural strength divided by total stress. So 45 divided by 40.49. Check it how much you are going to get. How much we are getting?
1.11.
45 divided by 40.49. That is 1.11. So in the problem, what they have given the factor of safety? The problem, what they have given the factor of safety? Permissible.
1.1 to 1.2.
So make a statement. Since FOS is less than 1.2, therefore provide the thickness of a rigid pavement is equal to 25 centimeter. Okay. So if the factor of safety is less than 1.2, we can say that the pavement is safer, and we are going to provide a thickness of 25 centimeter. Okay, is it clear? This completes the problem. Is it easy or difficult?
Easy, sir.
Easy. Okay. Okay. Note down. So factor of safety is equal to flexural strength divided by total stresses what we have calculated. So if the factor of safety is not within the limits, means again you are going to change this H value. Okay, you are going to change this H value either 28 or 30 centimeter. Likewise, you are going to provide 27 centimeter, and you are going to do the iteration. That is you have to do the iteration till you get the required value. That is till you get factor of safety less than 1.2 or 1.1. Okay. I hope it is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubts in this? So we will solve some more problems on this, that is using edge stress equations, and later on we will go for IRC 58 2002 method. Okay, up to here I hope everything is clear from my end. So we will be moving to IRC 58 2002 on Monday or Tuesday. We will be solving those problems, and I require one more class to solve the problems on this edge load stresses. That is determining the pavement thickness by edge load stresses. Okay, I'll stop here. So any doubts in this or anything to discuss?